Yo, my name is Peter, and in this video I want to talk about my current Claude code setup and how I tackle the three major problems in AI coding today. First one, of course, managing context, which is really difficult. Second, reducing hallucinations and AI mistakes. And third, how to handle knowledge cutoffs. And well, we have Claude Code nowadays, which I think is the best tool out there. Previously, I used Claude, which is also quite good to be honest. And with Claude, I did code this AI job platform, which you can check out if you want. But now I'm using and starting a new project with just Claude Code. Everything that I'm going to say in this video, don't worry, you can look those things up. Everything is on GitHub in two different repositories. We have all the custom commands that I'm going to talk about and my documentation structure in this repository. And then we have another repository with my MCP Gemini assistant, if you would like it. There are lots of alternatives though, so don't worry. So where can you find those links? Either attached to this video, or if it's on LinkedIn, hey, just send me a DM or comment under this video or something. All right, so let's go quickly over it. So again, those are the three major problems in my opinion right now with AI coding. And we are going to use three tools to enhance Claude code. First, the most important, we need to have solid documentation to provide Claude code with the best context out there. This context is king. Without good context, Claude code can't do anything. Then we have custom commands, and those are like very sophisticated prompts, and those are really powerful within Claude code. We will talk about them later more. And then we have MCP servers. So let's start with the context. We have the main Claude.md file, which has all the coding standards, has all the instructions for the MCP servers, has more context or project specific context, everything to give Claude code some guardrails so it doesn't go too crazy in any direction. Then we have two other very important files. The first one is the project structure.md, and project structure.md lists all the technology that we are using. Yeah, there's our whole tech stack, plus it lists like the whole file tree with a short description, so Claude code knows exactly where the files are and what they are doing. And then we have a three-tier system, which I'm going to explain. So for example, what I mean with this, we have here, this is now my current project, and this here, for example, would be like a project structure file. All right, so you can see it's nicely organized with short descriptions, and those files are always attached with all the commands we're going to send out. Then next we have the docs overview, and docs overview, very important, because docs overview lists all the documentation files within our project and is something like routing ClaudeMD to the correct documentation, right? Everything needs to be intelligent and scalable. I can't manage this all by myself, or I don't want to be honest. And then of course, like the Claude.md file with all the guardrails basically to give it some structure. Very important. We have more Claude.md files within the components and, for example, within features. All right, so there's a three-tier system. Beforehand, I had with this project here with client, yeah, with this project, I had a context documentation structure. It was not optimal. For example, I had like a data fetching and client server and state management and all those things. And the problem was, all the time when I did one change, it did cascade for all the documentation. So one little change I needed to, I don't know, modify 10 different documentations. That was unsustainable. So rather than this, we have a three-tier system. We have like documentation, Claude.md files that live very close to the features themselves, and then component level ones, and then like very stable system level ones. And those very stable ones, for example, which I have here, system integration. This is how all those things communicate together, how the front end communicates with the back end, communicates with the database. All right, so this is a very stable thing. Now, once we have this, let's continue. We are going to have custom commands, and custom commands in Claude Code are really powerful because Claude Code has something like sub-agents. And sub-agents, man, you have to imagine them like a little army for Claude Code, and they do a lot of things and they are amazing. And Claude Code, one of the main limitations is like the small context window of 200K, and it's a bit slow maybe. And Claude Code, however, and that's very special, this is sub-agents, is it can spin up new instances of itself and instruct it to do certain things and, for example, gather context in your project, maybe modify documentation, maybe one sub-agent goes to the web and searches best practices, and they then come back all together and to the main Claude Code and give them everything they found. And this is powerful. This is, first of all, very fast, and second, it makes it much more scalable. Very important, this only works if you have solid context. When you work with Claude Code, you always have to think it's the smartest person on this planet, but unfortunately, the short-term memory is not functioning. So every time you start it, every new day, you have to remember who it is and what it does. It's basically in the movie Memento. And then, of course, we have MCP servers, context 7. I guess everyone knows by now. You can get up-to-date documentation, really good. And then I have my custom MCP server that I built myself, but hey, you can use others. There are so many alternatives out there. What it does is Claude Code can always access these MCP servers, and by the way, the sub-agents as well, and they can ask Gemini for feedback, for improvement suggestions, for bug fixes. It's basically like a second opinion. And what's really cool, here it comes, those two, Claude Code and Gemini, they talk to each other back and forth and that agree on the best solution. So basically, one AI system, one senior developer, of course, can always make one mistake. But having two senior developers making the same mistake, very unlikely. So how does it work? For example, we use this custom prompt. It's called full context, and it's for gathering, well, context for a specific user task. For example, user task could be gather all information and check for opportunities to improve latency. Okay, for example, like this. What it does, this is a markdown file, it's a custom prompt, and we can, with an add symbol, attach some files to it that are automatically loaded. So we are automatically loading those foundational documents, which are really, really powerful and which we need. So then Claude Code analyzes your user task, has the full context prompt, knows the most important stuff, and spins up sub-agents with specific tasks. For example, in our task, improve audio latency, one sub-agent checks the front end, another sub-agent the back end, and another sub-agent maybe does a web search. And all the sub-agents can always check context 7 or Gemini whenever they feel necessary. Of course, there are more documentations, and they can also read them because they have access to the docs overview and they get routed to the right documentation they need right now. They come back with all what they found to Claude Code, and Claude Code executes the task. Now, once we have executed the task, what we want to do is we want to update our documentation. And this is very crucial because without the right documentation, without good context, Claude Code can't do anything. So again, we run our custom command /update docs. It loads all the foundational documentation. It knows already, this is in my markdown file, okay, analyze the recent changes. it spins up sub-agents to check the current documentation if they need to be updated. It comes back with the findings, and Claude Code updates the documentation. So we have always up-to-date documentation and we don't have to do it manually. Now, how does it work? How about we try it out live? Okay, let's spin up a quick Claude Code session. We use not code review, we use full context. Please check our project, front end, back end, and everything else for opportunities to improve audio latency. And then tell me your findings. By the way, this is just a small speech-to-text LLM model, like a dictation feature that I built, so I do not want to use the keyboard so much anymore nowadays. So what it's doing now, we're firing up the full context prompt. And the full context prompt starts with auto-loading like the most important files. And then it analyzes whatever I told them, and it spins up a certain amount of sub-agents to gather context. And let's see what it's going to do. Now I will launch multiple sub-agents in parallel. Let's see, it's spinning up the back end. Now it's spinning up the front end. Let's see what else it's going to do. And as you can see, this is very, very powerful. Now it's spinning up network communication. Maybe another one, maybe not, we will see it. And another one. So 4 different tasks, 4 instances of Claude Code, and they do check all kind of files, all kind of integrations, and bring back their findings. And this is obviously very powerful. This gets so much better to a larger code bases. All right, thank you so much for watching. Again, everything that I said you can find in the GitHub repositories. All the commands you can find here, and you can find also like templates for the documentation structure, and of course like the README, how to use all this. And then in another repository like my Gemini MCP assistant, I would recommend you do a quick security check. You know, you should never trust anyone, not me, not someone else. Just do a quick security check. Ask Claude Code to audit my MCP server if you want to use it. And then, I mean, hey, again, the link in the description or attached to nothing. If it's on LinkedIn, just write it in the comments that you're interested and I'm going to connect with you, something like this. What do you think about it? It's still work in progress. I think it's working really well for me right now. Let me know what you think. What are your best tips and tricks? I would love to learn. And until that, see you next time. Bam! Bye-bye.